Alright, so now we're gonna be talking about the subscribe star thing that I'm so upset about. And sort of gesturing at it. Um we're gonna do this quick and dirty. I wrote a blog post yesterday. Um Big Sis did some editing for me after that, so we cleaned it up a little bit. It's the pictures on it are still broken, but I figured in the interest of making it cohesive for talking about it on stream, I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna like show the stuff that we had pictures for. To give you the complete experience of what we were trying to talk about. I should just let's do okay. So this is one of our favorite artists in the scene, both Bad and Cupfur, and Subscribe Star was stuff where a lot of people flee to after Patreon started being draconian in its things. They started with stuff like hypnosis, and later down the line started doing like started not letting like Loli Show and furry even too. So of course Baby Fur was seen as bad. I think you could still do some sorts of furry stuff on Patreon. I will almost say the Subscribe Star is worse now than Patreon was at the time, but I haven't used Patreon as a creator in quite a while now, so I couldn't tell you from firsthand experience what they allow. But Red Runner was like, Subscribe Star is going nuclear, LMAO. Everything is against TOS, from feral, not safe for work, to non-con, to hypnosis, to cub, to a good chunk of ADBL. Be aware you can back files, contacts, etc. up while you still can. Plan for migration off-site. Of course, canaries in the coal mine. Feral animal sexual content. Content depending explicit sexual activity involving non-anthropomorphic animal feral characters is prohibited. This includes but not limited to realistic or stylized animals engaging in sexual acts presented for erotic purposes. So no depiction, realistic or stylized. Like I'm pointing that out. Explicit animal sexual activity created for sexual simulation. Feral or non-humanoid animals depicted in explicit sexual scenarios. And then for anthropomorphic characters, sexual content involving anthropomorphic characters, commonly referred to as furry characters, may be permitted only when all of the following conditions are met. The characters possess clearly humanoid anatomy, such as arms, human-like knee orientation. This one has so many people fucked up. Like, there's memes about this now. It's like, if you got was it digitigrade legs? It's over. An upright body posture, so you can't be on all fours, right? I was like, well, what about TARS? Do TARS count? No sexual interaction occurs between humans and animals or animal-derived creatures. Like, they are covering their bases and just how thorough they want to be and saying nothing fun is allowed, essentially. The characters do not appear underage. And this is under anthropomorphic characters, so they're talking about underage looking anthropomorphic characters. The content does not violate any other section of this policy. Content may be restricted or removed if characters appear predominantly animal-like, feral, or lack clearly humanoid anatomy. In such cases, the content may be evaluated under the bestiality and human-animal sexual activity or feral animal sexual content sections of this policy. Where do they get off prescribing this? This is probably the notes they got from Visa and MasterCard, I would imagine. Allegedly. Just my thoughts. Non-consensual sexual activity. Content depicting rape, coercion, or non-consensual sexual acts is prohibited. This includes in situations where consent is removed through force of threats, manipulation or coercion, mind control or hypnosis, drugs, intoxication, or incapacitation. Yeah, they I guess foot fetishes are allowed. Human on human foot fetishes. Okay, so Anna Valen's been talking about this, and of course I'm gonna read some stuff that Anna Valen said because she's been at this for a while. She's been covering this stuff, and I think that she generally has good takes. Um, and is definitely been sort of a megaphone for a lot of smaller creators. And I guess exemplifying it in her sort of speaking for what she's heard throughout the industry. The biggest response I've seen from full time creators impacted by Subscribestar's new rules. If this is what the future holds, I have to stop doing certain adult content. I cannot fault a single VA, artist, animator, VTuber, or so on for changing their content strategy, but it's such a loss. So this person, Samaisa Penontes. Honestly, I already struggle finding not safe for work stuff I like. Just isn't common unless it is all the kind of stuff which isn't my thing. I know I already can't risk posting certain OCs of mine and not safe for works due to these rules, and they have caused me to get banned before despite looking like adults. LMAO. Just being short or smaller slash flat chested characters is all it takes in your band. One being in my profile picture. Just tiring. This isn't even counting any fetish stuff I want to draw. I already rarely draw it, if at all, since so many end up assuming shitty things about those who draw it. That's also something I want to draw attention to. It's not just payment processors that is making it really hard to be like a kinky or not safe for work artist or like drawing petite characters. Like it is the like reactionary puritanism that has been like so excessive, and it's wormed its way into a lot of people, like people assuming bad faith, assuming the worst things, and assuming that like I mean also like assuming that everyone who likes like say Lilicon or something is a chud even, and it gets really inhospitable really fast, and the whole reason that we even opened up about our presence in the community as much as we did was also because it was like nerve-wracking, but also because there's so many people that we know that have like lost connections, been tossed out of communities for being into stuff or like drawing or doing art or consuming art stuff, even if they didn't bring it into the space that they lost. It is like you're into this thing, so you are bad. And when you're talking about strangers on the internet, not even like people that you know and fostered like connection or community with, it's gonna be, I would say, worse. And that's what ultimately leads to a lot of harassment. It's just tiring. It isn't even counting fetish stuff I want to draw. I already really draw stuff, even if at all. Really draw it at all, since so many end up assuming shitty things about those who draw it. All this made me realize I have no future where I draw not safe for work for Patreon or Subscribestar type places. I'm so tired of these payment processing companies controlling so much. They should have zero say in what we consume. Only job they have is to make sure the money goes through, nothing else. I mean, I don't know. It felt very powerful to me, and like a lot of people have their backs against the wall. Some people are like literally hobbyists and don't find a place anymore. And we know people who went to Subscribestar and don't, and like since Patreon, and don't post a lot of their stuff publicly. Or maybe they do once a year in like a big like archive of their arts for the year, for example. But like, there's certain artists that we only know they're posting when, when we get a ping from their subscribe star or whatever, even though we have like a low tier or like the free tier or something. And it's just like, well, at least they're still doing art. And now thinking about artists like that, like having even less places, some art is just gonna disappear. Anna goes on to say, I don't think a lot of people understand what's about to happen. I'm imagining there's going to be a huge drop off in diversity of adult content on the internet. Artists, voice actors, animators. They can no longer host and create certain kinds of 18 plus material online safely. So more and more of it disappears. More and more people ask, why did this artist stop drawing as much BDSM with very dominating tops? Why can't I find as much new content of this ship? Why did my favorite VTubers stop doing my favorite fetish? Why does she create only vanilla content now? Mommy Dami stuff dropped off? People will not realize the impact the subscribe star bans and so on will have until it starts hitting their own personal tastes and interests. But increasingly, what is happening is a narrowing of new pornographic content into a more vanilla direction, and then even that will narrow further. And it was reading this that made me, actually it was just these two. We hadn't seen the other parts of this thread when I started making my I guess you call it a response, or at least like a response to the news. And so I used these two Blue Sky posts, or rather the one from Anna and the one from Red Runner, to basically give you a replay of how I was privy to the information before going into like what I actually said. A Thornbite entry. Today really sucked. We cried, we seethed, even balled up in pain. We got a lot of shitty news, which weirdly is not abnormal for the news cycle, but one thing we'll focus on in this post is our reaction to the Subscribe Stars' new policies. To Subscribe Stars' new policies. Although really, it's a reaction to the bullshit that is our reality. Or maybe this post is really about the macro scale of being human trash on the fringes of society. Or maybe about how we feel about not being welcome anywhere, and staring in the face of the reality that unbanking is a huge part of the disenfranchisement of us and our peers. VTubers, not safe for work artists of all stripes, and many, many more folks are being continuously backed into corners as the internet is censored and unshitified. Already mentioned the Red Runner post. Earlier today, we found out the Subscribe Star is following in Patreon's footsteps, cracking down on a whole slew of different kinds of not-safe work art. Covering ADBL, of course, but furry stuff, non-con, and more are all on the chopping block as well. This post we're writing is supposed to have pictures embedded in it, but we can't get it to work. We'll start learning website stuff! So until we do, you can refer to the links we have here for the receipts and quotes from relevant parties. And we already talked about Valence's take on the effect of these things, and those are the two things that sort of spurred us to write. I remember actually we were writing this as just a Twitter quote post, but we started seeing in one post just how many characters we would have, and then we started to get the feeling that it should just be a blog post, because it would just get broken up into like fucking 12 different little posts. And because of how the internet is and how I've now been taught to see platforms like Blue Sky, just like Twitter, as temporary, I'd rather be on this website. This is lightweight, and I can have a copy of, even if NeoCities goes down. That'd be nice. I like archiving things. It's been gnawing at us. This feeling that we should quit, rebrand, or change course, to wilt, to hide. And we have wilted, and have hidden out of fear and out of hopelessness. It's why we haven't been advertising ourselves like we should, or advocating for ourselves like we should. In every facet of our life, it feels like we're being told that we're not welcome, whether in public life as a trans person, under fear of ICE as a minority, or just as a creator of taboo stuff trying to stand on collapsing ground. As a queer person, as a disabled person, as a black person, it's all just so much. Sometimes it feels like we're bordering on collapse. Our own physical and mental health has not been where we like it, so it's felt like stacking albatrosses for a while. And hearing people leave the scene or have to move away from adult content, furry stuff, VTubing, or whatever breaks our heart. I empathize because we too have been weighing decisions such as those for some time as things have gotten more and more hostile with payment processors and targeted harassment. The risk assessment has been intensifying, which is really why we're still very frustrated at the same circles being treaded, at power wearing us all down, at hoping we just roll over and accept the new internet, the new world, or let's be real, the same old world, just much worse. The way the world is turning, I feel like I'm ice skating uphill. We've known folks who've quit VTubing or slowed down on art, folks who can only fit art into the small crevices they're allowed. And that was even before AI was being used to manufacture soulless content and devalue the work of real people's labor, and before Gamergate had become the politics of world leaders. When we started doing this in 2019, we had no idea how hard things would be. It felt like an art and identity renaissance. So many folks are finding themselves on the internet, getting into new hobbies, and some even pursued their dreams. Little did we all know we'd have to fight just to keep these newfound shreds of personhood or avenues of expression. And being a creator, not safe for work or not, takes a lot of time and effort. When we started doing this in 2019, we had no idea how hard things would be. It felt like an art and identity renaissance. So many folks were finding themselves on the internet, getting into new hobbies, and some even pursued their dreams. Little did we all know we'd have to fight just to keep these newfound shreds of personhood or avenues of expression. And being a creator, not safe for work or not, takes a lot of time and effort. Even during a boom, like we saw during the boom we saw during COVID. Back then, still had tremendous difficulties, but I feel like every avenue of stability has eroded since then. It'll be even harder soon, but thinking of this moment in history feels reminiscent of the burning and outlawing of degenerate artwork and research about queer people that the Nazis did. It's not hard to see parallels, and I think, is the art I cherish, both for myself and others, gonna turn to ash in our hands and mouths as we create it? There are artists we look up to who just barely get by or can't even feed themselves, or who've quit because of the social climate of things alone. This is an era of hopelessness. We used to worry if someone would be able to watch one of our streams in 100 years. Now a stream surviving even 10 years would feel like an accomplishment. That's why in this moment, with part of us screaming to move even an inch and not go sweetly, to learn how to survive, to live in spite of this capitalist fascist hellscape trying to swallow us, to make us comply, to appreciate our sets, to burn us alive all at once. It's a nightmare that we're writing this. To those who have to take up less space or take up space differently, Do what's best for you. I hate that you have to limit yourself or stop following your passions to survive. My heart goes out to you, to those who even begrudgingly are attempting to continue living as you ought. Even in the shadows, my heart is with you, and I hope we can all live to see the daylight after this nightmare. I do still believe that this is not the end. We aren't free until we're all free. This post is sort of a pressure valve release, an affirmation to ourselves that we don't want to give up. That we want to keep moving forward, and that even though there's no reprieve in sight, survival through solidarity is the revenge we need to foster. Please, look out for each other. Seek help from friends, from colleagues. Check in on folks in your network. Make sure to follow creators to new sites as we navigate things. Most folks lose some amount of subscribers and income when moving. We know we did moving from Patreon to Subscribestar. Anyway, try to get a good night's sleep. Seems like we're all gonna need it. Short and sweet. Short-ish. Sweet-ish. So it was more of an emotional thing. It's definitely a blog. But I feel ways about it. I don't think we got any. Yeah. I don't know. It was cathartic. But we also have to put our money where our mouths are. It's like Shinji after getting clapped at and that has so many contexts you could take from that. Shinji getting clapped at in Evangelion. Oh. Dig it. That was a glitchy. Yeah, I got a follower. Thank you, Amethyst Switch. Amethyst Witch. Your future will be filled with happiness and sadness. Right. So, like I said, money where your mouth is. We gotta keep going. It's really easy to say, I'm not gonna quit on Friday. It's not Friday yet, but damn near. And it's like that meme with Shinji. It's like, I'm gonna have a great summer, and then it's just laying in bed being depressed, or being on the train being depressed, getting back to school. I had a great summer. You know, I'm trying not to do that, so we're gonna try to take our time with things. That's why we're still on hiatus, and why we're not making streaming an every week thing. While we're still taking our time, we actually took most of today to make a picks of fanbots to replace our Subscribestar. Although we didn't scuttle our Subscribestar. We scuttled our Patreon way too early. We were still making money from it, and we should have waited, because almost nobody moved over from Patreon to Subscribestar. I'm gonna be real. Like, we lost a lot of people, and we didn't have that many. So it was definitely a rash decision, and it's like, sometimes stay until it's literally untenable. And you know, even on Patreon, people were doing the thing where it's like, just using Patreon as a landing page. You give me the money, but I'm posting all the stuff offsite or on my Discord or something. That's what we should have did with Patreon, until we just couldn't anymore. But we've learned our lesson. And we know that Pixiv isn't perfect either. So we are still going to try to cultivate at least one other site, at least as a backup. I know some people are making their own sort of uh subscribable website thingies. I might look into that, though. We'll see. The moving from like YouTube to PeerTube and all the other stuff, from Discord to Matrix, it's my head is gonna explode. You know. I appreciate keeping the flame lit during the dark times. Thank you. I don't think I'm that good at it, but I try. Okay, so there are apparently some more stuff. I want to look at that real quick. The new prohibited. This is Anna's coverage of stuff. Looks like she did a real thorough job. Thanks. The new prohibited content changes on Subscribestar and Intense. I will unpack all the new additions. The section was changed today, March 10th, 2026. The impacts of adult content of canonically underage characters, feral content, incest, and non-con content. Yeah, I actually need you to understand how deep this goes. The canonical age of characters, regardless of how you draw them, is now part of this. So we read the non-consensual sexual activity, extreme gore, and violent sexual content. Content may not depict sexualized violence or extreme graphic harm, including explicit dismemberment, exposed organs, graphic mutilation, or sexualized depictions of death or execution. Stylized violence comparable to films, comics, or video games may be permitted when not graphic or sexualized. So only when it's cool and not that intense. Obscene and degrading content. Yo, wait, they went for my literal top fetish, humiliation. Obscene and degrading content intended primarily to shock, humiliate, degrade, or disgust may be restricted or prohibited. I'm dying. This includes, but is not limited to fetishized bodily waste, extreme bodily fluids, explicit degradation imagery, and content intended primarily to cause disgust rather than to depict typical adult material. Animal cruelty or abuse. Of course, synthetic media and deepfakes. Like, it's super funny how so much of what a lot of companies are doing, and governments too, is laundered by, you know, AI deepfakes and like AI simulated CSAM, and it's like, target that specifically. Those are bad, yes, but like people drawing erotic art, even of questionable stuff, is not the same. Synthetic media deepfakes or manipulated content created with or without artificial intelligence are prohibited, where they may be used to deceive, misrepresent, exploit, or cause harm. I invite you to look at the 3.10.26 version versus Internet Archive's November 2025 save. This is a massive update. Conceptualized via text compare below. Oh, this is the code. Right? Oh no, this is just what it says. It's just like what they added. Okay. They probably spent a lot of time on this, yeah. Yeah, this is just the text of everything. What the rules used to be and what they are now. I mean, Subscribestar was heralded as, wow, it's better than Patreon. Oh my god, that reminds me of our political system. Remember? Biden, he's not Trump. Kamala, she's not Trump. Like when your biggest claim to fame is that you're not the other guy who sucks and everyone hates right now, that's a red flag. I'm gonna say it. First big change we see to comply with legal requirements, payment processors, and acquiring bank standards, certain types of content are not permitted on this platform. There's also clarity about a de facto but oft unknown rule: no content primarily focused on real human performers. Oh, I see. All content submitted, uploaded, posted, or otherwise made available by users of the platform is subject to a pre-screening and review process prior to publication. The platform reserves the right at its sole discretion to review, moderate, approve, reject, remove, or restrict any content to ensure compliance with applicable laws, payment processor requirements, community guidelines, and these terms and conditions. Submission of contents does not guarantee publication. Users acknowledge and agree that the platform may delay, condition, or deny the availability of any content pending successful completion of a pre-screening process. Prior to being permitted to publish content accessible to other users, a content creator must successfully pass the KYC and profile screening process. Until the screening is completed and the creator's profile is approved for monetization, the creator may not share content with other users. Mastercard and Discover's lawyers must be like fucking wizards. Wouldn't be surprised if they are. It's their content though? Yeah. I mean, a lot of websites are like a sort of like moderation after. But I mean, for example, YouTube scans your videos to see if it has. It's usually not if it's graphic, though they eventually do screen it for that too. But they do a pass for like copyrighted material, so it's sort of been normalized in our media apparatus, you know. So it's not it's not unprecedented, unfortunately. And that's the sucky part, too, that it's not. Oh, hey, Issy. Yeah, it sounds like a red flag. Not being the shitty one. Yeah. It's how you run from the arms of one abuser into another. Also, like, what is this labyrinth of hell this new plastic car Hays Code brings? Oh, yeah, it is like the Hays Code. Good pull. And now someone's gonna ask, what's the Hays Code, Fluff Bite? I can't read. Can you read for me? Okay, once upon a time, there were homophobes, and they controlled what movies could be created, and said that if you had queer people in your movies, then they had to be bad, and obviously bad. And if you had, like, say, cops, then they had to be good and obviously good. And if a cop was bad, then, you know, there must be something that the villain's doing. You know, like, they have to, you know, be shown to be squeaky clean at the end. Or they need to be punished. Also, criminals need to be punished. They are bad. You cannot make bad guys seem cool. Good luck with that. And so it sparked a whole, like, sort of... I mean... queer coding, for example, is sort of a product of the Hays Code and of those repressive times. In case anyone was wondering what the Hays Code is. Major change. Subscribestar has codified a ban on Lolly and canonically underage characters. No adult content with underage appearing characters in any style. Canonically underage characters, even if aged up in adult content. Characters featuring characteristics commonly associated with minors. That last one got me dirty. And it's like, damn, if she's short and wearing a propeller hat, it's over. Child sexual abuse material, CSAM, and underage characters. Child sexual abuse material, CSAM, in any form. Any depiction of underage or underage appearing characters in sexualized circumstances, regardless of artistic style, medium, or whether the content is fictional, illustrated, animated, or digitally rendered. Sexualized depictions of characters from films, games, anime, comics, or other media that are canonically underage, even if such characters are aged up by a textual 18 plus statement, modified or reinterpreted. So again, covering so many bases. Is if I'm reading this right, it's like a all characters 18 plus banner does not save you, and neither does actually drawing them aged up. If I am reading this correctly. These are all the things that people had as like defenses for stuff. And I want to be clear here. Some of my salt that is in my voice right now is coming because of the panoptic awareness I have, because I've already seen people I've seen people angry right now that are not like, say, Loli Show or Cub or ADBL enjoyers, who are tacitly defending us, who are begrudgingly defending us, which I prefer to not defending us, but could be better. And people being like seethingly mad, like people who don't even who think that like lowly shows shouldn't exist. I am seeing arguing with other people who believe lowly shows shouldn't exist, but one is distinct from the other in saying we have to defend it or they go after everything, which is true. But I wish that the solidarity was not didn't feel so much of the moment with certain people. Not everyone is like this. What I actually appreciate is someone not being into the same stuff I'm into and still being willing to defend artistic expression and freedom. If I know that something that I like triggers someone that I am friends or colleagues with, I'm not gonna go, hey, look at this. I think that there's content warnings, there's certain spaces for certain things, there's so many ways to navigate this, and we're still having these discussions. And of course we're going to still have these discussions because the internet runs on aggression and conflict. And remember what I said a little while ago during the Mark Fisher white knuckling about how people under an oppressive force will seek to regulate themselves or justify the oppressive force as, well, okay or moral, or the only way things can or should be to cope with that, creating a dissonance. There are a lot of people who create a dissonance in the sense that they think that they are better than others. When the For Affinity Cub and like Petite Digimon rookie ban happened, there was a lot of people who really liked sexualizing certain rookie Digimon. I feel like Renamon is generally safe. Renamon is one of the most adult looking rookie Digimon in existence, but like a lot of people are like into like Pikachu and Vmon, and don't even get me started on Rylu. Rylu has a cult, honestly, as well they should. But there's so many people who are like, okay, the form this takes is a form that, because of the context, is okay, even if the optics aren't. And going, this is actually better, and the other folks are degenerates, is the sort of thing that we've, has always grinded our gears, of people having that cognitive dissonance of being like, if only they just banned the stuff that I didn't like, I'd be okay with this draconian shit. We've still seen some of that in response to the Subscribe Star stuff, but I'm gonna be honest, at least with our feed, it's usually coming in the form of people we know or follow responding to it, being like, "What are you doing? You're being a useful idiot. You can't possibly believe that it wouldn't just eventually become this, even if they started more piecemeal." And they don't do it piecemeal anymore because it's already been accelerated by laws like COSA, being pushed, by Patreon already doing this stuff and already doing it piecemeal over time. So they didn't go through a point by point slow erosion of which rule, or I should say not erosion, a slow erection of new rules, but like one fetish at a time, or one kink at a time, or one problematic element at a time. They need to do that. Patreon walked so Subscribestar could run with censorship. So that's why I get into all at once. Characters portrayed with body proportions, facial features, clothing, or contextual cues commonly associated with minors. We don't face reveal, but the way we dress would not be allowed on Subscribestar if we had sexual content that reflected like our personal style, which I guess isn't actually that weird. It's like, oh, I like dressing a certain way. I draw characters dressing in the way that I like to wear clothes. Pretty normal. But it's just weird to think about that. I mean, because like one of the things that was like I wouldn't say it was the final like, well, the straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't think it was the straw that broke the trans egg, but I know that one of those straws was realizing, oh shit, I don't live with my parents anymore. I can wear what I want, and I want to wear cute fucking shirtalls with fucking frills on the leg cuffs. Fucking sign me up. And it was like, oh shit, I don't think that's something I'm supposed to want. Starts bargaining, right? And the rest is history. But like, I don't know. It's got me thinking about how in society, like, dressing weirdly and standing out is even more like looked at with disdain now. But that's looking at the long distance of it. They're not actually saying dressing like a child in flesh space as an adult is a bad thing. Subscribestar isn't saying that. I'm sure someone is, because I've heard it. For moderation purposes, visual appearances take precedence over written disclaimers. Honestly, I have felt for a time really weird about people putting all the characters depicted are 18 plus when they don't look it but still having like a Puritan streak, especially. And it wasn't until like a year or two ago that we even saw that some people were doing it like in a tongue in cheek way. Our autistic ass just assumed that everyone was like, no, these Ninja Turtles are 18 plus. There's, and there's a lot of cognitive dissonance, and there is a lot of vagueness to it, and the gray space that people operate in with that is like purposeful and meaningful because of the pressure if you don't. But now that's not even a thing. This is the new standard. Major change. Have we hit your kink yet? Don't worry, we'll get there. No copyright is intended. Oh yeah. Oh, it makes me think of when a YouTuber goes, "Oh, this is fair use." If a company wants, they're still gonna slap you a DMCA. You're gonna have to fight that. God, fuck Patreon and all the other people who've been trying to oppress and censor us and our things we enjoy in our own personal lives that nobody should be able to dictate. For real. Trying to squash our autonomy, our ability to express, to be weird, gross, and to share that with others. And especially to make money sharing it with others. The Pokemon Railu? Yeah. That line is so beloved by furries. Oh yeah, Railu and Lucario. Of course. I think I saw something on Blue Sky that feels very fitting. Protecting perverts protects everyone. Or something along those lines. Yeah. We're not free until we're all free. That's what I always say. Major change. Feral content is now banned from Subscribestar. I heard this was being introduced late last year quietly. Furry content is allowed in limited capacities. Subscribestar demands characters possess clearly humanoid anatomy. No sets, BT. Oh, no sets between humans and animals or animal-derived creatures. Okay, so we read this one. Any depiction of sexual activity between a human and an animal is prohibited. So we read the feral one before, anthropomorphic before. They mentioned that even the anthropomorphic characters can't appear underage. The content does not violate any section of this policy. Content is restricted or removed. Characters appear predominantly animal-like, feral, or lack clearly humanoid anatomy. In such cases, the content may be evaluated under the bestiality and human-animal sexual activity or feral animal sexual content sections of this policy. Okay, so we got through that one. Major changes. Oh yeah, incest! And the bodily waste. We did read the bodily waste before. Okay, family relationships specifically is the one we need to look at, so we saw the other one in the other screenshot. Content depicting sexual relationships between close family members is prohibited, including parent-child relationships, sibling relationships, grandparent relationships, and other immediate family relationships. Oh, so cousins is okay. Thanks. They at least let us keep cousins. This restriction apply regardless of whether the characters are fictional or animated. Thanks, I hate it. To be clear, external linkings for prohibited content is also not allowed on Subscribestar. Oh, the Patreon trick that I talked about before. Posting off site. Are they gonna be talking about Discord specifically? I wonder. The following actions are not prohibited: linking to third-party websites containing prohibited content, embedding prohibited materials inside files, including PDFs, executables, or other uploaded materials, using external links or embedded content to circumvent platform policies. This restriction applies regardless of whether the content belongs to you or to a third party. You can't link to your own other shit if the thing you're linking to is stuff that Patreon. Sorry, it's just when I squint my eyes, they look the same. The Subscribestar doesn't like. Compliance and platform rights. Subscribestar operates in compliance with legal regulations, payment processors, and acquiring banks. As a result, some restrictions on this page may be stricter than general legal standards. Oh, so they're even like, yeah, no. The legal, even if it's legal content, we don't care. If creator's content does not align with this policy, Subscribestar reserves the right to remove or relocate the creator's profile to a partner platform that better supports the type of content being produced. What? Are you gonna have a Subscribestar just for furries? They're not. I'm joking. But that is a weird conceit. Such action may occur with or without prior notice, and may be taken in order to preserve the creator's income stream. Oh, they're doing us a favor. But if it's on another platform, your audience isn't on that other platform, so how are you going to maintain your... Let me finish the fucking sentence. It may be taken in order to preserve the creator's income stream, prevent the creator's account from being terminated, and maintain compliance with financial and regulatory partners. This list is not exhaustive and may change in the future as technologies, laws, and compliance standards evolve. If you are not sure whether your content falls into a prohibited category, please contact us before publishing. And at the end they go, don't ask for permission. Don't ask for forgiveness, and ask for permission. Too long didn't read. Subscribe to our content changes. Lowly Show banned. Aging up character banned. Incest is banned. Non-con is banned. Non-con, dub-con, hypnosis is banned. Feral is banned. Some furry content is banned. Scope has been limited. Scat disposal is banned. Guru is banned. Worth noting, the original rules had a vague prohibition on bestiality, rape, or incest, and, quote, filthy or disgusting words or pictures. But to the best of my knowledge, this rarely resulted in action taken against the average creator, though I knew of feral bans being enforced by late 2025. Obscenity, abuse, harm, bestiality, rape, incest. Man, I've been saying those words a lot today. Filthy or disgusting words or pictures. What's a disgusting word? Cunt? Synthetic media and deepfakes, whether created with or without the use of artificial intelligence, aka AI, animal cruelty or abuse in any shape or form, presenting, advocating, or promoting, live child abuse imagery, and child pornography. Pornography is defined as real people engaging in sexual acts such as masturbation or sexual intercourse on camera. Services, conversations, products that promote hate, violence, discrimination, terrorism, harassment, or abuse of any kind. Self-harm or suicide. Damn, my self-harm suicide can't be catered to on Subscribestar? Fucked up. In other words, we have gone from vague statements and minimal moderation to a detailed Patreon level ban on all sorts of content. Update on 311. If you need to be reminded today that I'm recording this is 3/12. Subscribestar has removed the feral, animal, sexual content, and anthropomorphic character sections of their rules. I suspect they are reworking both of these sections. I highly doubt feral content will be unbanned, for example. Left and right comparison. So this is what it was before, and this is what it is now. It's definitely an optics thing, because I do remember as soon as Discord went, yeah, we're not gonna work with Persona for our AI checks, our ID checks, and we're not gonna start doing the ID stuff until what was it, like the summer or something? When they said that, I remember there were people who were immediately going, oh, they're reversed on everything. And it's like, no, because people are just, I mean, I'm all about being hopeful, but people are giving companies too much credit, and when they pull back or change course, people think that they're retreating when they're really just redirecting. Remember, Tai Chi. Shit, I didn't teach chat about Tai Chi yet. We have to have a Tai Chi stream now. Revisions for characters with underage-like elements. New. Characters portrayed with body proportions or features commonly associated with minors. New. Oh, that's a new one. Original. Characters portrayed with body proportions, facial features, clothing, or contextual cues commonly associated with minors. Okay, so we can get contextual cues. Woo! We can be coded. God fucking damn it. It's like, look, degenerates, crumbs. It's slightly less specific. Update content continued. For bestiality section, new. Any depiction of sexual activity between a human and a real animal is prohibited. Original. Any depiction of sexual activity between a human and an animal is prohibited. Any depiction of sexual activity between a human and an animal is prohibited. Okay. So a real animal versus an animal. But like she said, it's they're probably reworking. It would feel weird if they let Feral slip through. Okay, so that's pretty much that. I figured, especially as things changed over the past couple of days, it is nice to include this thing as well. Um, I guess for our YouTube video, we'll put the link to our blog post there because it also has the links to like Anna's stuff. Though I guess we can also add the link to this as well. But that's pretty much it for that stuff specifically. I don't think at this time I want to talk about all the places people are fleeing to. Like I said, already mentioned, some people are trying to do their own thing. Is increasingly becoming a thing that certain artists, and I'm saying like leftist artists who are not like crypto bros or AI evangelists, basically feeling that they have to have some amount of like fraternization with cryptocurrencies for like commissions. And I remember last year that when that topic came up, there was a mutual we have that was literally like, I don't think I could respect an artist who asked me to pay them in crypto. And I mean, it's I kind of relate to the sentiment, but also that disgust won't save us, especially if like we have to like do these decentralized currencies. And I'm definitely not advocating for you know like a bunch of fucking stock trading or like living your life attached to the thing. It's like people doing what they can to survive, and I think that it's important to like be aware and like just how in the same way that these platforms that are fucking us all over and starting not even starting to are aggressively dictating culture, operating outside of that is hard and an uphill battle just to exist. And so like having more empathy and a little bit more flexibility is important, but I think also like educating yourself is important because the the sugar that makes the poison go down is sort of the comfort and like the accessibility to a degree, but really it's like convenience. I wouldn't say convenience is the enemy, but convenience is the thing that kind of lulls you into staying on Twitter, on Spotify, on YouTube. And a lot of people will stay in something that is until it's absolutely untenable. And we're trying to do that less and less so that we are less having to deal with the immediacy of again having to move something around, again having to reestablish ourselves, again having to uh, reorient ourselves to different systems and frameworks. And soon there won't be any available like above board frameworks or platforms left for certain kinds of people, for certain kinds of content. Part of what Republicans have literally said about passing COSA is that they want to limit youth's contact with the transgender community because they consider queer people, trans people, to be just as dangerous to youth as pornography. So, even if you were to take the protect the children narrative in good faith, what they're trying to protect children from is not friends of Epstein, that's for sure. Wow, that's like a lot of me. Fuck subscribe, sorry, I swear. There we are. Another talkie stream done. Oh gosh. I'm gonna cry later. I don't have the tears right now, but I'm gonna drink water. Crying's okay. Crying is good. Good faggots cry. Cry, comrades, when you need it. It's okay. We gotta get up in the morning. We gotta keep going. I mean that in the general sense. I'm not actually about to end stream. I'm just ending the heavily political, very much focus on current events part of stream. Thank you for watching and enduring the psychic trauma. And if you're interested in degenerate art, we have pics of fanbots. You should follow that. That'd be cool.